Greetings! I'm Catherine of Sky, and I hope to make your day refreshingly Swedish. So there are so many videos coming out about the news that's kind of crazy in the world today, and I've been feeling really sick, so it's hard for me to get content out, but I'm trying to get like the most important ones in a very timely fashion as things occur, because there's some really scary things happening with the American government right now. So right now we're going to react to a video called Trump Rejects Supreme Court in New Filing Contempt. This is by the Midas Touch Network. I really enjoy the Midas Touch group. They have a lot of like up to the minute stuff. I do sometimes feel like a lot of their titles are a bit clickbaity compared to like the clips that they show. I feel like they over exaggerate a lot. But having said that, they do show actual clips where you can make up your mind. They don't just have, oh yeah, this is just a random thing that we're saying. This is our opinion. Also, Ben Meiselas, the main guy at the Midas Touch Network, is a lawyer. So his opinion is quite interesting, especially on legal matters such as this video. So let's check this out.
We got some breaking news on day 30 of Armando Abrego Garcia's illegal detention in El Salvador.
Okay, just to say, this is not Ben Meiselas. This is Michael Popok. I'm not sure if he's a lawyer or not, but he's also one of the very well-spoken people on this channel.
And we've got the filings now by the Trump administration late Sunday night in which they completely ignore and openly defy a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling.
Okay, so this is about the situation where a person was deported to El Salvador without any trial. He's innocent, and the Supreme Court has said multiple times, release this person. And there was a deadline, and I think he might talk about that. We'll see. But there was a deadline to release him. And so, yeah, look at the headline there. Trump administration insists it isn't required to work with El Salvador to bring back man mistakenly deported. Wow. And also, it's quite rare to have a 9-0, everybody on the same side on the Supreme Court, because there are both Republican and Democrat justices, and they typically have differing opinions. And so a 9-0 is very strong ruling.
And a federal judge's directives.
Trump administration contends it has no duty to return illegally deported man to the U.S. What?
Concerning their facilitating the return of Abrego Garcia and to report the steps that they are taking. They are hiding behind purported, quote unquote, sensitive foreign policy negotiations with President Bukele, who arrives today from El Salvador to meet with President Trump. But in doing so, they have violated the court's order and that of the Supreme Court. I'm going to break it down for you right here. The only way I know how, telling the truth on the Midas Touch Network. Let's go to what was required to be filed. There were two pieces of paper required to be filed, and both of them fall woefully short of what is commanded by the United States Supreme Court. The first is an update report, 5 o'clock every day, of where is Abrego Garcia and what steps are being taken and will be taken to secure and facilitate his release from El Salvador's jail. Overriding a judge's order of protection to prevent him from being deported to El Salvador or removed to El Salvador. That's just what the United States did, completely flouting that order. All courts that have looked at this, Judge Zinnes, 3 judges at the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, 9 judges of the United States Supreme Court, have said and have credited the government with confessing that they violated the law in violating that order and Mr. Abrego Garcia.
I just don't even understand how this can happen. Like, and I mean, I guess it's a symptom of the rest of the deportations, the people being held without any reason, any trial, anything illegal. You know, doctorate students from universities being held at airports because I wonder why. They're the wrong race for America, apparently. Or not, maybe not America, but Trump. They're the wrong race for Trump. They have the wrong skin color. And I just don't even understand how police officers can carry out these things, these actions, because they are going against the law. Police officers and similar people like TSA agents or other like airport security people, they have to know the laws that they are protecting. They have to know the laws that they are upholding and what is against the law and what is for the law. And I don't understand how they can even detain people. It is against the law. Like, it's not a question. No one would ever think that this is okay. So I really don't understand the mentality here of any of the people involved. You know, either the people that are arresting people, the people that are detaining the people illegally, the people that have been sending a man on a flight. Like, how do you do that without a court document? Like, really? I just, like, it's mind-boggling.
His constitutional rights. That is a fact. That is 13 judges having looked at the issue and come away with the same conclusion, including at the highest level. That happened. Now, he was removed along with those enemy combatants purported by Donald Trump pursuant to the Alien Enemies Act, but Mr. Abrego Garcia was not removed pursuant to the Alien Enemies Act. He's being housed in a storage unit, a maximum security prison in El Salvador under an agreement.
He is not even in his own cell? What? He's in a storage unit? This is like mafia level crap right here. This is embarrassing for the U.S. Not just embarrassing, but this is so far against what a civilized society would do. How I just wow. You know, I would say how do Americans let this happen? But I know how they let it happen. They don't care, most of them. As long as they are not personally affected, usually people will not care. And it's just part of the sad part of American society. And yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, some random guy stuck in El Salvador. Who cares? Let's keep watching TV. You know, who cares? They'll fix it. They'll fix it somehow. Well, not really. They're not really fixing it at all. This is just sad, and it's demeaning. It's dehumanizing for this poor man, and it's demeaning to all of us as humans when a government acts this way. It's unbelievable.
Contract between the government of El Salvador and the United States in which El Salvador gets $6 million to fill an empty jail. Of course, the United States has the ability through its contractual and diplomatic relationships to get Mr. Abrego Garcia back.
Of course they have.
Not on day 30,
Jeez.
but on day 2, day 5, day 10. But they won't. And they're doubling down on it. Now they have filed, let's talk about the 2 pieces of paper they filed. One I told you about, a declaration from somebody who's allegedly in the know about Mr. Abrego Garcia's whereabouts. But again, woefully deficient, does not provide the court or therefore the public with any information about what's being worked on. If they thought it was that sensitive, they could ask to have it sealed. They're not even doing that.
I mean, there are ways to hide information if they need to. I think that this is just Trump not wanting to admit he was wrong. And he does that often, unfortunately. And this man has to pay the price. He's been deprived of his family, deprived of money, deprived of everything in freedom. This is just, it's outrageous that this can happen in 2025.
And their response to a motion filed on Saturday by Abrego Garcia's lawyers as invited by the judge, a motion for contempt and other remedies, they basically tell the judge in a complete and whole misreading of the Supreme Court decision that she does not have the power to order them to do anything in their connectivity or communications with El Salvador. She has no power to tell them what diplomacy to use, what foreign policy to use, what back channels to use if they're using any, and they're not going to tell her what they are either, even though, again, that's the order of the United States Supreme Court. They are in contempt of court. I'm waiting to see
It's interesting because when someone is in contempt of court, if you're not aware of that term, I'm not sure how widely used that is outside of America, but it's basically when you go against the court's actions, and it can be something as simple as in a courtroom, a judge asks you to stop interrupting, and if you keep interrupting, you're in contempt of court, and the judge can order that person to be in jail or pay a fine or something similar. You have to pay some kind of restitution to the court. However, I don't know who is responsible for this. Is it going to be Trump himself for issuing the order? Is it going to be the people who are incarcerating this person? Is it going to be somebody else? And if it's Trump, I mean, the Supreme Court, stupid Supreme Court. What is a good word for that? Oh my God, we got to come up with a good word. But the stupidity court ruled that Trump is not responsible, doesn't have to be punished for any actions he's taken as a president. And I think the wording is like official acts of presidency. But how the heck can it be an official act of presidency to move 47 or however many boxes of documents into your personal bathroom? I've never heard of that being an official act of a president. Not to mention it's illegal, taking documents out of where they are protected and safe in the White House or wherever other location that they were. So, I mean, do you really need that much bathroom reading? I mean, we do have things called ebooks. All you need is a tablet. You don't need boxes, dude. So anyway, regardless, I'm curious. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see who is found at fault and who has to pay any consequences. Because if it's Trump, he won't have to suffer any consequences. He can just go on his merry way, doing his Trumpy things. Yay.
Probably later today, early tomorrow, I'll come right back here on the Midas Touch Network and report on it. The order that the judge imposes. She may wait until Tuesday's hearing. She has a hearing already on the book scheduled for Tuesday with the parties. But let me read to you from the things that matter so far, these two new filings by the Trump administration. And I have in my hot little hand something which they ignore, which is the United States Supreme Court decision. And I'm going to tell you where they're wrong. First of all, they filed a new declaration by a new guy. This guy is the second person allegedly with knowledge who's giving the judge information. She ordered that every day at 5 o'clock, she wants an update as to the current physical location and custodial status of Abrego Garcia. Where is he? Who's got him? 2, what steps, if any, defendants have taken to facilitate his immediate return, and what additional steps they plan to take.
0 steps.
Every day.
That's the answer.
Now, again,
0. Yeah, because it's total BS. They have they don't have any evidence against this person, and they are just holding him because it's an ego play for Trump. That's why. All right, so let's cut the video here. The rest of the video is mostly legal arguments and things, and you can check those out for yourself with the link in the description below. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't comment on exactly the legal language and things like that. So I think we'll leave it with this gentleman who is an expert on such things. But I just wanted to bring this video to your attention because the world we're living in is very scary. I've seen some people, opinions where people are like, I ain't ever going to the U.S. now because it's dangerous. And I think they're right. I think it is dangerous. The U.S. is becoming a fascist dictatorship state. This is not a joke anymore. It is not a meme anymore. This is a president openly defying the Supreme Court. This is a president illegally seizing people, deporting them to other countries without a fair trial, without any proof, without anything. If that's not a fascist dictatorship, I don't know what is. And these are the early stages. It's kind of interesting to me when we look back at World War II. And there's a lot of question. I remember when I was studying World War II in the very beginning, I studied the war for many, many years, like 14 years. in the beginning, I wondered, like, how did the German people not know? How didn't they see the signs? Like, why? How didn't they see that, this man is gaining so much power and he's hurting people? And the short answer to that, it's complicated, but they didn't know. They hid the concentration camps. People knew that their neighbors were disappearing, but they thought they were getting deported to other countries, just to live their lives, whatever. They didn't think they were going to be killed. And so when you look back at history, you see these parallels. And right now, the American people don't know, or they don't care. They are blissfully ignorant. And we can see the same with the tariff situation. People have no idea what tariffs are. They don't really care how they are implemented. Other countries, who cares about other countries? They're not that important. That's generally the feeling, because most Americans do not care about anything outside the U.S. borders. Other countries might as well not exist, and that's not an exaggeration. That is how most people feel. They see the U.S. I've even talked to people like that I worked with, my colleagues. Oh, I never want to leave the U.S. I never want to even travel, because we have everything in the U.S. What else could other countries have? I am not joking with you. I had a colleague, a nurse, who had a bachelor's degree, supposedly an educated person who was still so ignorant and couldn't see that other countries would have anything to offer. So I think we're seeing parallels with the 1940s here, where the U.S. people are not aware of what's going on. They're not aware of the seriousness of what this sets a precedent for in the future. We're talking about the leader of the nation who is sworn to uphold the laws, completely defying the highest court in the United States. That's what we're seeing. Just defying the court and saying, no, I'm not going to follow your order. Wah, wah. I'm going to be an egotist and win. So anyway, Americans, keep up your protests, rise up, keep getting this, try to get this man out of office, impeach him, for goodness sake, just get him out. Through protests, through legal means, please. We don't want any kind of violence, but he has to get out of the Oval Office. My goodness. Because he's demented. He is a psychopath. Elon Musk is a psychopath, as we have seen. He says empathy is a weakness. No. Oh my God. Just like, Anyway, sorry for the tiny opinion. Sorry for the tiny opinion and rant. Anyway, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you next time.
Vabbè, che c'è? Ah, no, Arab professional